Hello, we're here. It's the I need a better introduction than this, man. I swear I say that all the time. But week seven recap or week seven foreshadowing with Alan and Code. Looking forward to talking with you guys a bit as we look towards this week. Alan, I remember Code and I were planning the who we're going to talk. We've got a spreadsheet that I made to like track our themes for the week, and I remember like looking who we hadn't talked to yet. And when I said we'll do a bold opinion one, I was like, we got to do it with Alan because the last two times you were here, you like got on the air, talk shit, and then like apologize in the chat afterward. So I want you to continue to talk shit and don't apologize afterward. Uh, that, that's our game plan
I
today.
appreciate the person, and I forget that I don't know you guys, so it might come off as lot more rude than I'm intending. But
Yeah, it's all in good fun.
just not hard.
Yeah, I think it's all in good fun. I wouldn't worry about it. We talk enough shit as it is. If you make fun of K Migs, you
Yeah.
can never go too far. So,
Oh, he has it coming.
yeah, it all works out
If,
nicely.
if you're on top of the table in the standings, you have every right to talk that shit. So,
Well, yeah, and apparently get that shit talked to you as well, as I've quickly learned, as everybody seems to be making fun of me as much as they possibly can. Let's go ahead and go ahead if you had something to say. Otherwise, we'll kind of just get right. What? Oh my
yeah,
God, get grooving.
it's the Patriots dynasty effect. Like everyone hated the Patriots back in the early 2000s, unless you're a Patriots fan. So
Yeah, very very
You have to
true.
win like one ring to be compared to the Patriots, though.
Yeah, which
yeah, that's a good point.
yeah, at least you won the toilet bowl ring last year, Alan. But hey, hey, well, I was in it. I came in the bottom of the toilet bowl. I was the shit of the shit. But let's just talk about what happened to us last week. Let's move on to some happier things. Speaking of happy things, Justin Stelly lost last week. 31 and a half points by Adam Thielen, wide receiver number 3 right now, by the way. So the implications pick up the win there. Brownout looking like Brownout should over the C words by 100 plus points. The Buffalo Princesses over the Inaugurals. That was not on my bingo card this week. Kung Su Pandas pick up the win over Raggy. Tyreek Hill still on pace to be the best fantasy season ever by a wide receiver. The way he's playing right now, by the way, statistically speaking, not opinionated. Dan Flashes looks like the elite form of Dan Flashes right now with 172, and then a close one. The Webster Tigers pick up one of the Liquidators. What's surprising to me is that Chase has actively tanked and sold all the things, but is still managing to put up pretty decent points from week to week. I mean, 4 teams under 100, and he's been selling, has all these picks, and is at 102. I mean, that looks pretty good. What are your guys' opinions on the rest of this scoreboard so far? We'll let Code go first.
I mean, another 50-point win for your team. It's like, when are you ever going to slow down? I think it's going to slow down when Thielen slows down, but that doesn't seem like it's going to happen because he took Justin Jefferson's powers, I guess. He's now putting up like 30 burgers every game.
It was Thielen the whole time.
Right, yeah. No, I agree with the take on Chase's team. He's just finding guys that are putting up points, and it's like, as long as you don't have a guy that's absolutely dudding like 0, 1, or 2, it's like every little bit counts, and then you never know because it's fantasy football and there's 10 starters, and it's who the fuck knows if someone blows their ankle first play.
Yeah, and we were
ends
talking
up
about
with a
that.
zero.
We were talking about that coming into this too, Alan. You were talking about how bad the injuries have been. I mean, even with this last week, it seemed like everybody got hurt this last week.
Yeah, and like you said, I don't know if it's the turf versus grass debate. Like, Chase has some data points on that. You can talk to him eventually, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's getting worse and worse. These players, they don't come. I don't feel like they come into the season as, I guess, like prepared within their body wise. So I don't know. That ramp up really seems to be really stretching them thin, and it's really affecting our scores for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the standings. So not much change here, except for the Russell division. So still in first place. All 3 teams still in first place. Justin Selly up there at 9-3. The Kung Fu Pandas at 10-2, and the Implications at 12-0. And then we've got all the teams in second place at 7-5. So Dan Flash has jumped up with their games this week. Brownout remains where they are. The Diamond Dogs remain where they are. And then the 6-6 Raggy and Webster Tigers. Raggy holds the tiebreaker over the Tigers, by the way. So that's why they're in the order that they are. The Inaugurals at 5-7. Win Lake Flint still winless. And then we've got the Diamond Dogs at 7-5. Liquidators at 2-10. And the Seawards at 1-11. So a very tight-knit race down there for the three in the toilet bowl. Pretty much all but decided. The question really just becomes who's that fourth team to join them. And we'll have to see. Any early thoughts from your guys on who that fourth worst team is going to be to kind of be in that toilet bowl? Whoever is in the toilet bowl with those three could win it, right? So it's almost, you almost not want to get there, right? But like any one of those teams should win it based off their record. But any mid-season predictions on who it's going to be? Alan, we'll let you go first. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I had to pick one, it'd probably just be Zoink Scoop, or Retro Raggy. Yeah. I mean, we talked about it earlier. I mean, this is probably one of the most disappointing teams you could possibly imagine after getting all those assets for, Mahomes. And I mean, I don't see how this team, I don't see how it picks it up at all. Their quarterback's Baker, your backup's Hoyer, Jimmy's out. Like, what are we gonna do here? It's really sad to see them be as bad as they are, especially when you have a team like Chase who's perfecting the tank. So I would my team would be Zoinks as the fourth worst team.
Co, do you agree? Disagree?
I think it's probably leaning either Zoinks or the Inaugurals, just depending on what Cam does with this team, because you lose A-Rich for the season and Jefferson for like 6 weeks, and they have no incentive to rush him back. It'll be interesting to see what Cam decides to do. I know that Alan made a comment about that earlier too. But yeah, I could totally see. I think that the Tigers at least have depth. So when the Tigers have a guy go down, he's like, all right, I can plug in wide receiver 3 to fill this void. Whereas, Raggy doesn't have a ton of depth, and Cam just got the injury bug while K-Megs is now all healthy again. So just the changing of the guard.
Yeah.
I was on the match screen. I just realized that Rotorag is already one of the 3 worst. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's probably Cam.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and look at what's happening this coming week, as well as the votes. So matchup of the week, Dan Flash is against the Kung Fu Pandas. The Pandas will take the edge in that one there. We had a tie between the Inaugurals and the Seawards, where each team received equal votes there, so no winner of that one. Justin's Deli picks up the unanimous win over the Liquidators. The Webster Tigers, excuse me, all the haters out here. The Webster Tigers pick up the win over the Implications in a close one, but not quite there. Rutravaki and Win Lake Flynn, another tie there on who will win that match, and Brown out with a unanimous vote over the Buffalo Princesses. As for the trash talk, the one trash talk is Burrow is washed. Hey, K-Migs. And the other trash talk is the Tigers will award 5 FAAB to anyone who can take out an Implications player this week. So I was talking to Morgan earlier this week and was like, hey, should be a good game this week, looking forward to it. And he's like, yeah, I intend to win. He's like, I have no problem beating up on an injured team. So he's taking this game really seriously. And I think everybody is slightly rooting for him to, or anybody for that matter, to pick up the win against the Implications for their first loss of the season, which I understand. I just miss when you guys used to love me, and it's awkward. I should go back to tanking. Let's roll that right over into what would the playoffs would look like. This is shuffled quite a bit, so this is what it ends up shaping out to right now if the season ended. So Justin Stelly moved from having a bye to not having a bye, but still in the playoffs. Diamond Dogs and Dan Flash has moved from extra pick to the playoffs. Brownout stays where they're at. The Implications stay where they're at. Raggy and the Tigers moved from playoffs to extra pick, and the toilet bowl stays the same, but the Inaugurals falling all the way down there right now. After this week, we're at the halfway mark, so still plenty of room to go, and it doesn't take into account the strength of schedule because some teams have played better opponents so far, but should be interesting. It's funny, we looked at this last week, and I said I could see it ending this way, and then I'm looking at it this week, and I'm like, yeah, I could see it ending this way too. So this continues to be very ambiguous in terms of what's going to go where and who's going to end where. I think really the only thing I would put a lot of money on right now is Seawards, Liquidators, Win Lake Flynn in the toilet bowl. Implications has a bye. Everything else really is so up in the air. That I think that game between Kung Fu Pandas and Justin's Deli is going to be like the winner gets a bye. Like that's what it's shaping up to be, in my opinion. When is that? Have you looked forward to that, Alan?
I would just say, like, just looking at the playoff standings, I mean, I would do anything to be on the side of the bracket that I'm currently on.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't mean a bye. Just, not having to play you till the championship would mean a lot. So, yeah, looking forward to playing Kung Fu Pandas whenever that may be, because I think his team is good, but, I mean, I think if you put us mano a mano, it'd be fun.
Yeah. Let me take a look just for fun to see when you guys play. I know it's not week 11 because that's when he and I play, so it's got to be coming up soon. No, you have Brown out in week 8, which is a big game. And then you have the inaugurals in week 9, so that must mean you have the Pandas in week 10. No.
I don't play them.
Do you not play the Kung Fu Pandas?
I don't play the Kung Fu. No, I'm looking at it now. I don't.
Not at all? Oh, wow.
What the hell?
I don't think I played him yet.
No, you haven't played them yet. Let me see. At least I don't think you played them yet.
I don't play.
Oh, you played them in week 5. Oh, no shit. You played them in week 5.
I already
Yeah,
played
and you
week
smoked
5.
them. That's right. Okay, that was their only losses this season
yeah.
were from you. So, wow, I don't know how I forgot about that. That's huge.
It was
That
last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means you hold
Once
the tiebreaker
past
over
the
him.
week, it deletes.
Yeah.
Move on to the next one.
It's a dub moving on. So that means if you end with the same record as them, since you beat them, you'd have the advantage over them. So you are in line for that bye. You're just one game behind with half the season to go. So that's really interesting. So we'll see how it shapes up. All right, we're going to do a buy and sell. So controversial opinions. We asked for your bold opinions. About 5 of them came through that were usable. There's some. My favorite one that we're not going to use is Blind doesn't wipe his ass when he takes a shit. That was great. We're not gonna do that one. Thanks, guys. It's great being it's great being the villain. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of we'll go in a circle. We'll start with Alan, then go to Code, then we'll do me. We've got 12 bold opinions here. We'll talk about buying or selling. So do you agree, as in you buy it, or you disagree, as in you sell it? We'll comment on each other's too, but would really love some perspective from you guys. They're in a random order, so I don't know which ones were ones I put in there that were bold opinions. Some that I agree or disagreed with, but threw them in there. Some, again, were submitted by you guys, so we'll just see. And you guys haven't seen these, so you have no idea what's coming. And we're going to start it off with a bang, and that's why we're going to start with Alan. I already know you're going to sell this one, but we'll put it up on the screen in the format anyway. This is user submitted. Justin's Deli has a mediocre team. They're definitely a pretender. How do you feel about being classed as a pretender still by somebody? At a 9-3 record.
Anonymous.
I also won't say which ones were mine, but.
Well, I mean,
but this one wasn't me.
I'll say this: they have some ground to stand on. When you look at my depth, when you look at my roster, I have to put out this week because of that depth, because of injuries, because of buys. There's some shakiness when it comes to those things. I think a lot of those teams struggle with that, but I'm a stars and scrubs kind of team.
Yep.
I think I have the best running back room in the league, one of the better quarterback rooms in the league. I hit on the best rookie of the draft. I have one of the best tight ends in the league. I'm 9-3. I think I'm top 5 in points for. So I can't really say I'm going to sell the opinion, but I can see where they're coming from. If they're comparing my team to the top tier, like the implications. So I'm going to sell, but I don't think that's. I get it.
So you're like, I hear what you're saying, but you're wrong. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, I hear you're saying not 100% wrong, but. Listen,
but fuck you.
It really helps being in the easiest division that's been ever created. It's been created.
Yeah, I feel that. All right, Kel, we're gonna move to you with number 2 here. Let's see if this works pretty. Our poaching rules just do not work.
Oh man. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've been the one in the league chat saying that like poaching is fine, just because I feel like by nature some weeks there's just not going to be guys that are interesting. And no one should feel like incentivized to get them if they don't want them. I don't know. I'm gonna sell it because like I think poaching is fine personally, but I would like to hear what you guys think about it because I know this is a thing that blinds wanted to have a lot more action, and I feel like the only real way to make it work better would be to have shallower benches, and that's not really something that is good for
Yeah.
Dynasty.
And I don't want to do like 10 people on the taxi squad. That's a mess in and of itself. It's already a lot to manage. I would like to find some use to be doing it, right? Because making this form, sending it out, getting back with people, checking in with them, it's so much for nothing. If everybody every week was doing something, or if there were like 2 a week, then like it'd be so worth it to me. But doing a whole bunch of work for nothing is what's really frustrating. And I like Rick's ideas. I mean, everybody was chiming in. I think we'll maybe edit it one more time, but I also wouldn't be just surprised if it went away. I don't think they work. I think we tweaked it once and it didn't work, so part of me is just like, well,
there we go.
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I mean, I think there's definitely times where it's like I've been like screwed by it before. Like I think I forget the exact player. It might have been Khalil Shakir. Like now
Yeah.
I coached him last year for me and I kept him, and now he's on a $21 deal, and 2-year $32 deal. Like, so I kind of see why it would happen. It just takes a lot of like actively checking other people's taxi squads, which I mean, we're all in other leagues, we're all got other priorities. So
Yeah.
I'm not personally going out and poaching, but like I see how it could be used to someone's advantage. But I don't know. If we went away with it, that's fine. I don't do it, but it does screw people over sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea of it more than what's actually happened from it. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky. All right.
I'm also
moving-
not doing the work for it, so.
Yeah, that's true. All right, the mystery one. The implications go undefeated this season. I'll go ahead and sit here and love this and think that there's a possibility. I've already beaten the teams that I'm most worried about. The only big team I have left to play are the Kung Fu Pandas, but I still got to sell this one. To say anybody goes undefeated or that anybody goes winless, especially with the median, I think is just a little crazy. This is definitely a team built where I could see myself doing it and going undefeated, but I don't think I do, especially knowing that everybody's gunning for me too, right? So like, not that there's, it's not like they can go talk to their players and go talk to Trevor Lawrence on the sideline. They're like, hey, come on, man. But I know that teams are going to be actively looking to beat me. And not that anybody's going to collude or make trades or that would impact me or anything like that. But I know that teams are really checking their lineup against me, really looking at the waiver wire against me. So no, I don't think I go undefeated as much as I would love to sit here and say I do.
If you look at your Week 10 matchup, you're playing. You have
that's the scary week.
And you play Flynn, who he might beat you. So I don't think it happens, but it'd be cool.
Like half my team is on bye in Week 10 because that's like the week the Chiefs are on bye. So
and that's the week he has no buys that matter.
Yeah. So that'd be fun. I don't want that to happen, but I like the storybook idea of the winless team picks up their first win against the undefeated team in Week 10. But I'm not going to let it happen, Flynn. Don't get too excited. All right, back to you, Alan, with the next one. Teams will be fighting to avoid the number 5 seed by the end of the season. So as a reminder, the number 6 seed is after the first 5 teams get in the playoffs, the number 6 seed is whoever has the most points for remaining. So that can go to, someone can have a rough record, but they're up there in points for, and they'll make it in because we've all gotten screwed at some point in time by having a shit ton of points for, but a shit ton of points against. So the number 5 seed is really the last team that sneaks in based off of record. And so will teams be fighting to avoid the number 5 seed and having to play against some of these hitters? What do you think, Alan?
No, I'm gonna sell it. Like, I don't think it's not necessarily there's something like they're not gonna be avoiding it. It's just gonna be they're gonna be chasing that points 4 seed. I don't see much of an advantage or disadvantage between the 5 or 6 seed. Basically, actually, I think the 5 seed would have the better side of the bracket being not on your side, right?
Well, so the highest seed remaining picks who they play was voted into effect after last year.
I constantly need rules reminders. So
That's all right. It's a fucking 20-page rule book, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But so the idea behind this one, this is one I submitted just because I think it's a fun conversation. So the idea behind this one was, I don't think whoever makes it in as the 5 or 6 spot beats the Kung Fu Pandas. I don't think they beat Justin's Deli. I don't think they beat the Implications. So why make it to the playoff bracket when you could win the extra pick bracket, or why do that when you could win the I mean, Toilet Bowl's a huge drop off from the extra pick, but part of me would think, why not? If you, so I love the inaugurals. I was rooting for them last year. I love the Diamond Dogs, Code. You're my boy, but like, damn, I don't want you guys in the playoff bracket because you're just gonna fucking get knocked out right away. Go win yourself an extra pick. That's kind of the idea behind it. But
I don't know. It's also really early.
But any given Sunday, right? Yeah.
Yeah, injuries, we're still due for a ton of them. It's like the baseball playoffs. Just get in and get hot. That can easily happen too. So I would always prefer to be in the playoffs because, if you win one game, you're playing for your money back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's a really good point. Cody, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much word for word would agree with what Alan said, just because I don't feel like anybody, even if you don't have a great team, you're not going to be like, oh shit, I made the playoffs, because I mean, there's still a chance, even if it's
given Sunday, man,
negative 1% chance, it's still a chance.
It's still a chance to win that one. All right, moving on to the next one, Code. You're up. Dan Flashes is less than 20 points away from the Kung Fu Pandas in points for. Stop pretending that they aren't contending.
Oh, this is interesting. Less than 20 points away from... Yeah. No, I mean, I'm gonna... So stop pretending that they aren't contending.
So,
yeah. That means that I'll buy it if I think they're still in the mix, right?
Yeah, like they have a chance.
Yeah, I think you've gotta think they still are, because Cup's back and he looks amazing. And apparently Aaron Rodgers is, healing at the speed of light.
Yeah.
The dude is throwing already, and it's suddenly if he gets a QB2 back that can... I don't know. You throw 2 touchdowns. That's fine. Just 2 touchdowns a game. That's all he can ask for. That's
who
fine.
Else does he have? He has what? He has got Russ, and who else?
It's going to be hard to contend when Jarrett Stidham is starting the Broncos. So
he's got. Hey, well, I like that take at least because Stidham's on my roster, but
he's got Jordan Love and Russell Wilson. So I mean, you add Rodgers into the mix, you can play matchups.
Well, and Taylor's back. Taylor's going to ramp up because now with A. Rich out, they're going to want to use Jonathan Taylor because Minshew doesn't run. And he's still got Derrick Henry. And, I mean, I'm sure when December rolls around, no one's going to want to tackle that man. Yeah. And he could make big waves happen. So, I'm going to buy it. I think it's just been a rough start, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So,
he's got a talented team, but Russ scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, that's the truth. A fun fact, by the way, if Rodgers does make it back like a miracle in week 15, 16 for playoffs, he plays against Miami, so it's going to be a shootout. And he plays against the Redskins, so it's going to be a shootout. And then the Browns. So the Browns have a good pass defense, but man, Aaron Rodgers has got 2 free games almost right there to do Aaron Rodgers things with a year's worth of film sitting around doing nothing. Could be interesting.
You really called them the Redskins on air.
Yeah. Canceled. What do you think, Alan, in a quick summary of a division rival of yours? Do you think Dan Flashes could make some noise?
Yeah, no, I think he's a good team. Again, I said, Zach Moss, he's got Zach Moss and JT, so that's huge. Raheem Mostert, I don't see him slowing down unless he gets hurt. Keenan Allen's having a career year. I mean, I'm not inspired by Jordan Love at all. Russ. Again, Russ is Russ. I actually looked it up. Russ is actually having a pretty good year. I just can't see.
I know, it's me either.
Fantasy-wise, I just think in 2 to 3 weeks they're after the bye week I can totally see them shutting it down, Stidham, and just tanking. So that's obviously in the books. I could see him competing. Let me check and see the playoff standings. Do I think who's the 6th seed right now?
So right now, the 6th seed, let me see, pull the playoffs thing. Right now, the Diamond Dogs are the 6th seed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's got the 5th seed right now. I think he'll probably get in. That's, he's one of the better teams in the league. I don't know if it all depends on what you think of Russ, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned having Zach Moss is really important. Do you regret saying 2 months ago Moss is bench scum in the league chat? It's pinned, by the way, right now. I'm just throwing that out there. Just justice for Dan and I.
All quotes need to be kept.
Moving on to the next one. The Webster Tigers are a playoff team. And it comes to me. God, I've been such a Tigers hater. Let me look at their roster before I just snap to a decision here.
No.
God, you don't think so? I mean, they could be, man.
That's kind of
With how much of a drop off there is after the top 3-4 teams that there is, and they're in the mix right now. The only reason, they're one game away. They're literally one win away.
I thought they'd be for sure.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. And they've also had a shit ton of points scored against them, definitely towards the top half of points against. I don't know, but man, as these injuries happen, they just have so many players that they can plug in there, no problem, and that's what could get them there. I think if they do make it to the playoffs, it would be through the number 5 seed. They're not going to get it from points 4. Yeah. But they let me see their schedule the rest of the way. They've got so they played me this week, then the inaugurals, then Brownout, then Buffalo Princesses, then the C-words, then back to the division. Just based off their schedule, I would say no, but I think they have a chance at the same time.
Yeah,
they can pick up wins against the median.
I was more negative than I should have been. I think
I'll go by.
I think they're better. They're better than I thought they'd be for sure.
I'll go by. This way Morgan lays up. Yeah. If somebody told me they make it there, I wouldn't be like, yeah, there's no fucking way. Someone tells me Zoinks makes it there, I'm like, there's no fucking way. Someone tells me the Webster Tigers make it there, I'm like, okay, I didn't expect that, but okay, I believe it. Yeah, exactly right. There is a you can squint and you can see it. All right, let's keep it moving. Alan, we're up next. Stop calling it the Division of Death. We talked about this. This one I came up with 5 minutes before we started recording this because we were kind of discussing this a bit. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have obviously the worst team in the league. You have the inaugurals, which I think we'll hit on them a little bit more in another take. Brownout is good, but I mean, the record isn't. It should be better than what it is. And then, I mean, obviously Kung Fu Pandas, which I think they're striking fire with players that you normally wouldn't think strike fire. Like, I did not foresee Jacobs and Kamara having a good year again. They got lucky with Jerome Ford, but it's by no. I would say we have no great divisions. We have great teams, but there's no solid divisions, and this is not a division of death. So I'm definitely going to be buying that.
Yeah, you're right. That's fine. Stop calling it.
Yeah.
Coda, what do you think? Do you also think we should stop calling it the Division of Death?
I'm gonna buy it for this season. Then we'll see what happens next season.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, one of my takes early on in the season was that I think our Achilles Smith division was gonna have more points for at the end of the season than the Jamarcus Russell, and the Jamarcus Russell division is just creaming us. I mean, you've got.
I'm doing my best, man.
I know you are, and I'm trying to help, but we've got 2 teams that in 3rd and 4th that are 6-6. It's just man, I don't really think we can ignore the Jamarcus Russell division anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 8 minutes ago I said this division's crap, and now it's starting to look.
That's all right. Yeah. That's why you're here. You're on the Bold Opinion Show. You're here for the clips and the highlights. Yeah.
I just throw out takes without actual data.
That's all right. That's the best. That's the best kind of fantasy football is the take with that, and then you look into it and you're like, oh well, we'll see.
Yeah. I just for some reason I value Chase's picks a lot, so in my brain I think he's a lot better team than what he actually is.
Right. Yeah. It's like that. All right, Co. Let's keep it moving. How the Mighty have fallen. This title defense from the inaugural is rough. 5-7.
Yeah. I mean, it feels kind of bad because it's like, how can you not buy it? But also, it's like, this is not his fault. I mean, he drafted A. Rich and hit on that one. Yeah, do a buy or sell flip because we don't really know how to. It is a buy in the sense that the title defense is rough, but it's also just what do you want the guy to do? His quarterback that he hit on in the draft, is out for the season because he's doing the right thing for his health. And then the minute he made the Jefferson trade, Jefferson.
Oh wait, is Richardson out for the season? Did I miss that news?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's how out of touch I am with rookies, just because I know I don't have anything coming up soon. Damn, that's crazy. That's tough. Okay, sorry.
Well, that's the thing. It's you lose 2 of those guys that are gonna get you 20+ points in your lineup every week. I mean, anybody would be crumbling. So, yeah, it's a buy, but it's like a soft buy because I mean it's not really his fault.
Yeah, and plus the slow start with the Bengals, Jamar Chase never got. He's starting to heat up now, but that really
Mhm.
screwed him. But didn't he just trade for him though?
He just traded for Jefferson, so I
Oh
like
no,
the
you're right.
moves. I like the moves that
You're
he's
right.
making because, you have a team like mine that's got a title shot this year and this year only,
Yeah.
versus a team that's set up like his, or really the teams in that division are really set up super strong for the future. So I like that he bought Jefferson because
Yeah.
next year he's immediately back in the contending conversation. But
Right.
yeah, this defense is not as going as well as I think any of us would have said it was going to be coming into the season.
He also got screwed with Gibbs. Like you got a lot that went over. He took Gibbs over Stroud. Like now he's stuck with
Right. Yeah.
who's his Andy Dalton's his quarterback too right now.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have one. Fields, if you sell him, the same.
Hey, come on.
Shameless plug. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to touch on that towards the end because it'll be fun. This is something you said right before we started, so I threw it in here as a bold opinion. The only way the way the league is formatted, you really only have a 1-year window to win.
Yeah.
And I'll sell it. I'll do the plug for the sell side, and then we'll flip it back to Jan for the buy side. I disagree. I think that you can look at Brownout and the inaugurals and the Pandas as teams who have set themselves up to win in a multi-year window. I think that it is easier to sell everything and to win now than it is in a normal league. You can see me going from second worst last year based off playoff brackets to arguably first place this year. So I think that you can turn it around easily. But in order to do that, I had to sell everything. But I think that you can absolutely build a team that will be good year in and year out. You just really got to make these rookie picks count more than they are worth in other leagues, I think. So let's flip it back to you for the buy side of this, Alan, if you still think that buy is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think, I mean, you've heard me talk about it in the group chat a lot, but like, I think the way the contracts are structured with the jumps that contracts take from year to year isn't like as it's a lot bigger than the jumps from the cap jumps year for year.
Yeah.
So I think that makes it really tough, especially with the startup prices that we paid. So if you're having a bunch of these startup prices that you're paying for players, like, and they're not hitting for you, which again, that's a lot of us. That's where it really tanks your team. And I think if a lot of us have those, we're not gonna be able to build like we want. And that being said, like you use K-Mix and Cam, like are we inspired by Cam right now? Are we, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think there's a way to do it, but the way you and I are doing it with like stars and scrubs mentality probably isn't the best way to do it. But we're also at the top of the league right now. So
Yeah. So it's working for this year, but I'll meet you at the bottom again next year, maybe.
exactly. I'll sit down there.
Code, you're the tiebreaker in theory.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna sell it because I know I wasn't grouped in that tier that you had blind, but I think that I could have a chance to compete next year, if things play out because I still do have draft picks. But and that's another thing that I'll segue into is that like the draft picks in this league I think are more valuable than in a traditional dynasty league to some degree, just because of the cap ramifications in it. And like I see a team like Chase and it's just like he's already putting up 100 points a week. Wait till he buys like all these rookies if he takes all these picks and buys somebody nice or just sits on them and then drafts all these rookies. And I mean, because it's like like a second round rookie pick in fantasy is like a third rounder generally, and it's like third round rookie picks, like not all of them are gonna hit again, but it's like still like you see a guy like Tyjae Spears, like he is already producing decently for fantasy.
Yeah. That's where it gets tricky though, is like when you have a team that's built like the Webster Tigers. I mean, he signed everybody to those 3-year deals, and if they don't hit and you got to cut them, I mean, you're shooting yourself with all those penalties. If you take an early rookie pick, and they're $25 this year, and by the end of their deal they're $78, and you got to cut that guy, damn, that sucks. Like that's just gonna sit on you forever. But man, if you hit on that guy, like I mean, just the fact you're getting them for that cheap, and then with the holdout rules that we have, where they can't hold out their first year, they can't hold out their second year if they wouldn't have held out the first year, but they can hold out if they did back-to-back years. Like it really protects it. So There's totally a world where you can build this team through rookie picks and just have a dynasty for forever. But man, you fuck up once or twice and it's going to crumble, I think.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving. The Diamond Dog, what's this one? Diamond Dogs need to pick a direction. Are you competing or rebuilding? Sheesh. Added in there at the end. This is Alan, but Code, obviously want to hear your opinion on this one too.
Do you want me to start or go with Alan?
Go ahead, start. You take it. Yeah.
Need to pick a direction? Like, I've picked my direction. I'm just not going to tell anybody.
There you go.
That's
There you go.
it.
Fuck them. Fuck the haters.
Yeah, that's the gentleman's response. So I guess we'll just buy it,
Yeah.
and we'll let you guys decide what I'm doing.
So let me look at your pick situation.
So then
Yeah.
I'll go while you look at it. Oh, you got it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I think you're competing. Like, are you competing to the level of like stars and scrubs? Like, no, you have a lot of like solid mid-tier players that could be something that, but more likely than not are going to be at least like pretty good. But no, I think you got a solid squad. Like, there's a lot of players that like hurt. You can't tank with a player like Jalen Hurts. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Hurts
You're
and
not-
Burrow at
that's-
quarterback and Superflex. Yeah, you kind of, even if you
Yeah.
tried tanking, you're going to kind of still
Yeah.
end up in the middle of the pack at the worst.
Are there players that I would want on my team? Like, no, but like that's everyone's team, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question for sure. I don't think that you're doing anything wrong, but I do agree. It's one of those things where, you know, this is also where you and I have differing opinions, Code, too. My chips are all in one direction or another direction, right? There's never like when I was selling last year, everything was for sale. Give me the picks, like everything's out. And then
Yep.
this year, I'm like, take all the picks. I want everything.
Yeah.
Whereas you've kind of stayed in the middle, which sets you up for the future for sure. The only thing I would say is I feel like you've got a free fucking win. If you end up in the extra pick bracket somehow, that's a free win. But at the same time, it's any given Sunday, and you showed us that last year by taking out Brown out in the first round of the playoffs. So I don't think you're doing anything wrong. So I'm gonna sell this because this one's really completely up to you and how you're happy building your team. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to add something real quick though about like the trades and stuff. I think it's hard for some teams to be buyers because some teams at the top don't have assets really to trade
yeah,
in like picks or whatever. So it's like, and all of the picks, like Chase owns the entire draft next year, and that's like, why would he want to sell the picks? So it's like the market's like compressed or whatever,
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to get fair value for things. And to Alan's point about the salary cap, it's like, yeah, some guys are maybe producing, but then you look at the contract and you're just like, man, I don't want to pay anything for that. You
Yeah.
know? And it's like, so it's not only trying to find the value with a trade partner that you can both agree on, but it's like trying to make it all work with the cap too.
I think that's why the trade
Yeah.
deadline this year is going to be really interesting again. It's because just because you're in the bottom four doesn't mean anything. If you won 101, you've got to win at the end. And so teams that are selling at the end, that second pick over, like that second round pick that they were holding from the Kungsu Pandas, man, send that somewhere and just get yourself someone that you can plug into a flex spot, because that's the difference
Yeah.
between you having 101 and 201 and you having 104 and 204 for a mid third. Like, it ain't worth it. So
And yeah, like, this is like one of the worst years for injuries. I mean, we're at week 7, and it feels like I'm literally starting Zeke and AJ Dillon. It's like, fuck me, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's rough with injuries, and it's not going to get any better.
yeah. All right, let's keep it going. We've got 3 left. I don't remember. Kungsu Pandas are not the best team in their division. We'll open table this one since we kind of did open with the last one, so we'll open the last 2. Let me go look at their roster a bit more.
I mean, I'll start first because I already know I'm gonna sell it because I do think that they are the best team in the division, because when you have Tyreek Hill, I mean, on the pace that he's at, and I mean, he's still got some pretty good depth, and he's got quarterbacks he can rotate into the super flex spot. Like K-Meg's ramping up will be scary, but I still feel like it's disrespectful to say the Pandas are not the best team in that division.
I
That's
don't
tough.
know. That's actually a really good one. I mean, both have a lot of players that I really like. both have players that are really good on paper, but have really like shitty situations. You have Garrett Wilson with Zach Wilson right now. Chris Godwin, I don't want to touch him. I don't know. I think I'd take Kung Su Pandas, but it's a lot closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it too. And I think you have to think, trying to go back in time to their game. The thing that I will say, Brown against the Pandas. I think you do have to say Brown out more points for and more points against. I think that's interesting. Eckler was out. Saquon was out that week that they played against each other when the Pandas won. It's a tough one. I don't think there's a wrong answer, but I don't think either answer is right.
I think I'd take Brownout's team like over the next 5 years, but I would take the Pandas today.
I think that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, like it depends on how you interpret this question, right? Like now, Pandas should beat them, but overall, long term, Brownout's probably better. I think it's a fair way to put it.
Absolutely.
All right, our last one, and we'll wrap it up. This is somewhat satirical, but also true. Zoinks will end up selling Diggs to another team for cheap at some point this season, forcing K. Meigs to cry himself to sleep. This was submitted by one of you. I can only wonder who it was. This was also submitted along with Zoinks Scoop is actually a bot. But we didn't put that one in here.
So Zoinks just keeps catching strays. Like, my goodness.
So he's advertised that Diggs is on the block a couple times, but hasn't made a deal yet. I know that Brownout has been trying to purchase him, which is where this kind of comes in. What do you guys think? Does it make sense for him to sell Diggs? He's an older player. His contract is expensive. I think it's $148 next year, which is one of the reasons why I moved him to Zoinks Scoop earlier this offseason. But what do you think? Does Zoinks end up moving pretty much the best asset that he has at some point in time? Because he's got no picks this year. He's got no picks next year. So do you hold on to him for next year to try to have something? Do you try to sell? Do you wait till the rookie draft? I don't know. It's a good one.
If I'm him, I'm absolutely waiting for the deadline for one of these teams to get desperate. But I mean, his contract is tough, but also he's having a great year. He's wide receiver 2 right now. So I mean, I think you sell him, you sell Swift, and you got to have a fire sale with those two guys because no picks, he also has no cap space.
Yep. So, no picks, no cap space.
So I don't know if he can sell him given the limited cap space the winners have right now, but you have to.
Code, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he needs to sell Diggs. He's gonna try to do his best to milk as much value as he can for him because it is a wide receiver 2 on the season, so you're gonna have to pay the price for it. But I remember he threw up a lot of guys on the block and was saying, "Hey, I'm willing to deal. Just send me picks." Yeah. And no one's willing to move off picks, and that's what I was getting at with the way the market's like condensed or depressed. It's just like the teams that have the draft pick assets aren't willing to sell or to trade those away to get the players. So I think Alan's answer waiting for the deadline is good because once we get to the deadline, we'll really know a lot more about the playoff picture and what that looks like, and teams that want to make a move will make a move.
Yeah. Friendly reminder, that trade deadline is December 1st, so November 30th. Again, just like last year, we'll do a live stream. I think it's a Thursday. We'll do a live. It's a Thursday, November 30th. We'll do a live stream at midnight Eastern time. That bad boy locks, and that's the end of it. I remember last year, every single team had at least one trade, which was really cool and really fun. Wouldn't be surprised if it happened this year. Again, I like the way that the playoffs are formatted because it really makes people. You have to be able to win a game. Going into the playoffs last year, not making too many buys at the trade deadline just completely screwed me. And that's literally the difference between what probably would have been Gibbs for me at 103 and Bijan for Allen taking him at 101 since he won the bracket. So should be a lot of fun to see. Final thoughts for you guys. And week 8 is going to be a mid-year check-in, I think is what we said. And then the week after that's going to be the way too early rookie draft that we did last year. We'll just be me and Code. We're going to get someone on with us next week. We don't have anybody written down yet, but Any final thoughts? It'll be K Migs, Morgan, Rick, or Chase. Or no, we already did Chase. K Migs, Morgan, or Rick will be with us next week. But any final thoughts from you guys as we go ahead and wrap this up?
Final thoughts for me. I throw out a lot of takes.
Here we go. Here it comes.
But no, it's just I believe it was pretty early in the off season when I said I'm the best team in my division by far.
It's pinned. It's pinned in the sleeper chat, by the way.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not even a question. So I think I deserve some flowers for that one.
8 months ago, after this trade and the rookie draft, I have to be the favorite in our division.
Yep.
I think that is fair to say. I think only Dan would disagree with you. I'm a Dan Flash's truther, but I don't think. I think you are the favorite to win the division for sure. Did you win the first matchup with them? I believe you did, right?
I believe I think the only game I've really lost is to Morgan and you, which is funny because I'm pretty sure in the same offseason I said Morgan's team is the worst. So
yeah, you ended up losing to him. Yeah, so you lost to him in week 1. Yeah.
6.
Yep. So you still won by 6. That's when things really started to click for him after the first week. So, so you're only 9-3 because you went 0-2 in week 1. Just picked up your median loss this week, or excuse me, the loss against me, but still beat the median. So you do hold the tiebreaker over Dan Flashes. If you guys split and he beats you later on this season, that would mean that you it goes to points 4 for the tiebreaker. But ultimately, it's going to be a very tight race for that division. But I think we can say that you are the favorite in your division, and you were right 8 months ago. Everybody gave you shit for it, to the point that it's pinned. But
as it should be.
But it looks like you were right. Code, any final thoughts?
Flynn, hang in there. You're gonna get a win this week.
Who's he play this week? Oh, Raggy.
Sure, it's Raggy.
I definitely voted for Flynn to beat Raggy.
It was a 50-50 shot at who wins. So.
Yeah, we're rooting for you, Flynn. I really do. I don't want to lose a fucking game. I really don't. But I really like the idea that he beats me in the in week 10 because it's too much of a storybook to not happen
it's
that
your
way.
bye week.
Yeah, it's literally my entire team's bye week, so we'll see how it goes. All right, that does it. We trimmed the time down 10 minutes. We're getting there.
Let's go.
Yeah. Next week, we'll reach out to a couple of you. Who are the people I just said? We got to talk to K Migs, Morgan, and Rick for our halfway through the year check-in. Then we'll have our the halfway point check-in. Then the way too early mock draft. Then another thing that we haven't themed yet before really breaking down playoff scenarios. And then we'll touch. Everybody's going to be here once, so should be fun. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Go Phillies. Go ahead. Go say go Astros. There you go. And if Flynn was here, he would say go Diamondbacks, I'm sure. Kind of cool that a couple of us all have teams we're rooting for. But
I don't know about the Snakes. It's been a bad couple days.
It has been, but it's been a great couple days as a Phillies fan. So.
I know.
All right. You guys have a great night. Thanks for watching. See you soon.